If you think safety rules are a pain, try having an accident. Drive safely. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Grenada's economy is heading for its 7th year of consistent growth, averaging over 5%. Unemployment was reduced by 20%, while debt to GDP ratio was reduced from 108% to 63.5%. NNP, committed to the economic and social development of our people. NNP, delivering on the promise.
It's coming, the new family of EC polymer notes.
What is different about these notes?
The feel.
Polymer notes are made from a thin plastic film which makes the notes feel smoother than the paper notes.
The orientation.
The notes have a portrait orientation. You will read the notes from top to bottom instead of left to right as you do with the paper notes.
Unique tactile feature.
The front of each note has raised bumps at the top left-hand corner. These bumps form shapes that are familiar to you.
Holographic foil strip.
This feature is on the $20, $50, and $100. When you tilt the notes, the images and colors in this section will change.
New image on the $50.
The back of the $50 bears the image of former governor of the ECCB, the late Honorable Sir K. Dwight Venner.
New signature.
All the notes bear the signature of the current governor, Timothy N.J. Antoine.
EC polymer notes. Cleaner, safer, stronger.
Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee commends government for staying within the fiscal space. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, September 6th, I am Rakisha St. Louis. Government has been commended for keeping within the fiscal space in 2018. In its 2018 report, the Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee said of the 5 rules and the targets in the Fiscal Responsibility Act, there were 3 areas of compliance with reservations. One is that the wage bill to GDP ratio should not exceed 9%. Another is that the rate of growth of primary expenditure should not exceed 2%. And the third, primary balance to GDP ratio should not be less than 3.5%. Addressing the media during the launch of the FROC report on Thursday, Chairman Richard Duncan said government has maintained control and has not exceeded its spending ceiling.
Government has a constraint in terms of how they can spend, and that's where the Fiscal Responsibility Act comes in to ensure that certain ceilings are not exceeded. And as people remember, we always said that the origins and the genesis of fiscal crisis or crises is when we spend more than we earn or we spend irresponsibly, and therefore, while the government has a program of expenditure, it is bounded by the Act to do so in a responsible way, and that we have seen.
The 2 areas cited as non-compliant are the public sector debt to GDP ratio, whose target should not exceed 55%, and the public-private partnership contingent liabilities, which should not exceed 5% of GDP. They were, however, described as making steady progress towards compliance.
Basically, it is good news on 3 of the 5 rules. And the 2, where we say that there is non-compliance, steady progress is being made with respect to 1, that is the public sector debt to GDP, and the public-private partnership assessment remains outstanding, and there's work to be done.
Committee member Angus Smith highlighted some of the recommendations made to enable more growth and accountability.
We noted that while complete data and information is not available for the entire public sector, so until they get the covered public entities included in the data, they would be weak in those areas. But central government's performance has largely followed the act. From that, we suggested that government should issue a policy statement on a targeted time frame for expanding fiscal and debt data coverage to the entire public sector debt. This is the third report we are doing. This is the third time we are saying that the covered public entities are not included. And we are suggesting that they issue a policy statement giving a time frame, a targeted time frame to get these statutory bodies under reporting. Instead of leaving it open-ended, they should issue a policy statement with a targeted time frame.
Government was also commended on having favorable macroeconomic growth, low unemployment, a stable financial sector, and lower debt stock. This is the third report issued by the committee. The first report covered the year 2016 and the second report covered 2017. The Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee was established in accordance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act No. 29 of 2015 to create a transparent and accountable rule-based fiscal responsibility framework in Grenada to guide and anchor fiscal policy during the budget process. The foundation is being laid to revive the dormant National Poultry Farm in St. Andrew. An attempt is being made by a young man in the area to inject new life and new ideas into the project. We get more in this report from Karima Lewis.
Employment opportunities will be created for people in the parish of St. Andrew with the opening of the National Poultry Farm in Post Royal in a matter of weeks. An immediate priority of management is to ensure that consumers are able to purchase their chicken and eggs at the supermarkets for Christmas. Operating under the new name Family Farms Grenada, it will seek to bring a poultry brand to the sector, limiting the importation of chicken to the island. This is according to the owner, 30-year-old Kobe Williams, who gave a tour of the facility recently to Minister of Agriculture, Sheldon Scott, and other ministry staff. Williams says his main aim is to supply better quality and healthier chicken to the local market.
We imported about over 20 million pounds last year. So we're excited to grab some of that business, supply a better product to customers, and just, do it in a different way, a new way. And, we're very excited to get the farm up and running.
He said that 3,000 to 4,000 chickens will be slaughtered at the farm every 5 weeks.
Right now, with the current capacity of these two houses, we can hold over 6,000 chickens. We plan to get it up to 9,000 in the next 2 months or so. We're just waiting on some processing equipment, but we're looking at pushing out 3,000 to 4,000 chickens every 5 weeks. So that's the kind of production we are looking at. Yeah, so you can expect us, within the next year, we're looking at over 35,000 birds produced and sold.
Minister of Agriculture and Lands, Honorable Sheldon Scott, is in full support of the venture. She says youth in agriculture and increased poultry production are two of the ministry's target areas.
I support it wholeheartedly because we're looking at young persons involved in agriculture and poultry. We're looking at the cutting down of importation of poultry to the island. We eat too much foreign food that we don't even know about. And there is a young man trying to build that area, getting involved in that area. I want to wish him all the best. We are wholeheartedly behind him as the Ministry of Agriculture. And with that trust, with the whole poultry policy and getting things in order, that's another client.
Dr. Kimon Cummins, Acting Chief Veterinary and Livestock Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, says there is a direct and indirect support to that venture from the ministry.
Directly, we have offered lots of technical and concessionary assistance. Indirectly, we're setting up the structures presently within the industry so that persons like Mr. Williams, as we go forward, the business would be able to thrive. You would have heard about the poultry policy. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to speak of other detailed engagements that we would have had with other establishments and other agencies, but we're in the process of setting up the structures. So as I said previously, businesses like Mr. Williams would definitely survive.
For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Karima Lewis.
This is the National Report. We'll have more news when we return.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane, your hair prepare for hurricane.
Welcome back. Grenada is making efforts to strengthen diaspora management and involvement. The International Organization for Migration held a two-day conference in Grenada this week to discuss and highlight Caribbean migrants and introduce its 2019 to 2020 Regional Migration Research Project. The organization seeks to promote diversity and inclusion of migrants in society. Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Peter David says Grenada will build a platform for growth and Grenadians in the diaspora. He says the plan is to get Grenadians in the diaspora more involved and keep them up to date on local occurrences. Minister David says building relationships with them is a sound investment in better policy making and good governance and will augur well for future development.
We must articulate the pathways towards a cooperative, meaningful role for our diaspora in national development, lay the foundations to follow up on our engagement and initiatives. I wish to express our government and people's thanks to the IOM for their assistance in helping us with this exercise. This project will allow us to build a platform that seeks to understand the diaspora, address needs, fill gaps, and strengthen their participation and contribution to national development. U.S.
Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Linda Tagliella-Taylor, stressed the importance of migration to Caribbean economic growth and development. She says Grenadians in the U.S. contribute $1 million in remittances annually.
The United States is the world's largest source of remittances with more than $100 billion. Caribbean countries like Jamaica receive $1.8 billion in remittances. The Dominican Republic receives $5 billion, and Grenada receives approximately $1 million. The expatriate communities in the United States have played a key role in countries throughout the world, and it goes beyond economic support. Students educated in the United States, like Grenada's own Prime Minister Keith Mitchell, have gone on to make significant contributions in science, sports, commerce, and government in their own countries.
The conference highlighted issues such as free mobility, migration management, refugee protection, and diaspora engagement. And finally, Grenada is hosting a two-day workshop next week to increase resilience and reduce vulnerability to climate change impacts in the Eastern Caribbean fisheries sector. This will be done through the introduction of adaptation measures in fisheries management and capacity building of fisherfolk and aquaculturists. The project is currently being implemented in Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. This workshop will be held at the Fisheries Conference on Monday and Tuesday, and it entails a series of meetings and working interactive sessions. On the final day, however, there will be simulation exercises planned where participants will be able to practice the skills learned and get hands-on experience and knowledge while at sea. The workshop will be facilitated by the Caribbean ICT program team from the University of the West Indies in Trinidad. That story just ended the national report for today, Friday, September 6th. Let's recap the top story. Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee commends government on staying within the fiscal space. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Stay up to to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
If you want to stay married, divorce speed. Never drink and drive. After whiskey, driving is risky. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
It's coming, the new family of EC polymer notes.
What is different about these notes?
The feel.
Polymer notes are made from a thin plastic film which makes the notes feel smoother than the paper notes.
The orientation.
The notes have a portrait orientation. You will read the notes from top to bottom instead of left to right as you do with the paper notes.
Unique tactile feature.
The front of each note has raised bumps at the top left-hand corner. These bumps form shapes that are familiar to you.
Holographic foil strip.
This feature is on the $20, $50, and $100. When you tilt the notes, the images and colors in this section will change.
New image on the $50.
The back of the $50 bears the image of former governor of the ECCB, the late Honorable Sir K. Dwight Venner.
New signature.
All the notes bear the signature of the current governor, Timothy N.J. Antoine.
EC polymer notes. Cleaner, safer, stronger.
Your pain and victory will be in your name. I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father bless me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer.
And good morning to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott.
No surrender. I shall fight till the end of years. I was born as a
Flying solo this morning, 35 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
This morning, first thing I will go.
You're talking beauty, you're talking Grenada.
Courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall. Pick it up. When the cup was empty, God.
The most friendly people, you're speaking the island of Grenada. Our beaches are highly rated. Yeah, they place number 1 on all sorts of surveys. Our hotels, be they Silver Sands or be they the Sandals that's here in Grenada, or even our Spice Isle Beach Resort. Not regional rated, and world rated. Friendly and knowledgeable taxi men, I don't think I ever saw a taxi woman driving tourists around. I've seen men. Maybe that's something some women need to get involved in. Because I know you all will do an excellent job. Find is only taxi man, I see it. Used to see a 1 or 2 women bus driver, I ain't seen much again.
Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whisper.
Come on, equal rights and justice.
My broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies.
I'm saying a special good morning to all of you listening via terrestrial radio. Still not back up on the 97.5 frequency. So they're back in the hills today. But we are up on their online frequency. Yep. CitysoundFM.com. We're live on 89.5 CRFM Community Radio on your frequency modulated. Good morning to you, Campesh, Mr. Roll Garth. Hope that you're having a fabulous morning this morning. Also saying a very, very special good morning to the staff out there at Sister Isle FM in Carriacou. 92.9 is the frequency. Yeah, you're hearing them all the way up the Grenadine Islands. And of course, the lovely, most beautiful islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. I often talk of Paradise Beach. But I think pretty soon I will take another vacation. But this vacation is to spend exclusively on the islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Because I'm seeing some beaches there, believe me. If you think Paradise Beach is beautiful, and Grandans Beach and Bathway and so on is beautiful, or the beach in Guave is beautiful, or the beaches like La Sagesse and so are beautiful, man, you ain't seen nothing till you see some of those other beaches on the islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Me say good morning to you, Rena Mills. Come light up Facebook now, girl. Show us some of the beaches in Carriacou. Yeah. Outside of Paradise Beach and the beach right there in Tongue, Hillsborough. Show us some of the other beaches too. Light up the place, you know. So we say a special good morning to the staff out there at Sister Isle FM and to those of you listening via 94.9 out there in Brooklyn. Yeah, and also not just in Brooklyn. Remember, 94.9, yeah, WeiVybz Radio, they are also broadcast outside of terrestrial radio up there in New York. They are broadcast via various devices. In fact, Wade, give a reminder. Now, when you get a chance, give us a call and give a reminder the different ways that people can listen, not just Hard Talk, but Grenadian music, Grenadian news, all the good things coming over the WeiVybz Radio Network. Yeah. So if you have your Google devices, you have your Apple devices and so on, your Alexa, you say, Alexa, play Hard Talk Grenada. Yeah, man. You could tell Alexa thing and she coming on with Hard Talk and thing, yeah, man, yeah. Other stations can't say that, Only Hard Talk can say that,
Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide waves. Without you, there is no other. Could there be that we decide?
Good morning to those of you online this morning. Remember to like and share the video. It's been a good weekend for Grenada. Yeah. Believe me.
Yes, I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer. Oh, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer.
Yes, over the weekend, our very own Karani James was back in action. We did tell you on Hard Talk on Friday that Karani had up until Saturday to run in a IAAF recognized race to be able to qualify to run at the World Championships that start later this month into the month of October, that he had to run at a IAAF recognized meet to be able to do that. And guess what? Yeah, on Friday, let me just get the exact thing here. I don't want to go and say a thing and next thing I say the wrong thing because we didn't know, we didn't hear nothing. No. We were just waiting to hear, well, if he running, when he running, keep that one real quiet, boy. Yeah. So Karani, he was able to run a 44.47 seconds, so a sub 45 timing. And come on, folks, we had to learn this thing, Yeah. In the 400 meter, if you're running below 45 seconds, you're running an exceptionally good time. Yeah, that's qualifying time there. Right? And Karani ran 44.47 seconds. And if Karani continues at that, I believe he will be able to break his own record of 43.74. Yeah, if he started the season with a 44.47, then he can, in my view, I ain't saying this is what will happen, but in my view, I believe he could beat 43.74. Yeah? So he has now qualified for the World Championships that will be taking place in Doha. Yeah, that will be taking place in Doha, Qatar, a little later. It's starting later this month, but I believe he'll be running in the month of October. I'll get the exact date. You know, Grenada, we like to be on the ball with that thing. So we want to know when you're running so that all of us could sign in and wherever we have to do to see. Yeah, we want to be able to do that. So remember, yeah, Karani has now qualified. He has now qualified. So Team Grenada should be looking real nice. Yeah, remember, again, what I'm saying here is my view. The Grenada Olympic Association nor the Grenada Athletic Association have put out a list of who has qualified to go to the World Championships to represent Grenada. But we know already, we have the Pan American men's javelin champion in Anderson Peters. We know we have Markham Felix, who is also doing excellent in the javelin as well and can very well be on, in my view, should be on the team. Yeah? To represent Grenada. Next thing we get a gold and a silver. Yeah? We mind that to the at the World Championships. We've also got the brothers Lyndon Victor and Kurt Felix in the decathlon. Yeah? Both of them Pan-American champions. Both of them formerly winning. This year it's been Lyndon's turn before Kurt won it. Bronze medal at the Pan-American Games. Right? We have Josh Boateng, who continues to improve and improve and improve in both the discus and the shot put. So we have Braylon in the 400 meter. And we have many other athletes whose names are slipping me right now, because I know usually I always talk about these few, right? But we have the young Felix guy in swimming. We have guys in boxing. We have many others in athletics and so on. So Bonesy and all the others in athletics and so that always go on out there to represent Grenada. Yeah? So we're looking to come back from the World Championship. We want one medal this time, eh? We want more than one medal. We little, but we talawa. Yeah, that's what the Jamaicans have said. We little, but we talawa. I hope I'm pronouncing this correct, but Karani ran at the Meeting International de Andujar. Yeah, that was in Spain. Blew away the competition, yeah. 44.47. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. And that's for his first run for the season. Don't know if he'll be in competition between now and the World Championships again. I'll attempt to contact his management and see if I can get a schedule. No, they've been very secretive with that information of late. Seem to be back to his normal self there. Gear changer. If I do get a chance, I most likely will run the video. For those of you online, I'll try to run the video before the end of today's program. We'll try to run that video of Karani's race. So those of you that didn't see it will get an opportunity to see it. Okay? Nice. Yeah. Once we get a chance to do that, we're going to do that. Come on, let's conquer. Oh, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer.
Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. You are everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember, you give us your only begotten son. But
meanwhile, we have, Damian Daniel. He's on the road to Spain and Mexico.
Unto you my soul I will give.
So he's heading to Spain. That's between the 1st to the 3rd of November. And Spain between the 21st to the 22nd of November. And as usual, he needs his protein, so he needs eggs, fish, sardines, tuna, potatoes, green vegetables. If we can give him some cash so that he can buy up the little supplements and so on.
Yes, I will conquer, conquer them. Come on, let's conquer. You know I will conquer. Rise up and conquer, conquer them.
So he's going to the International Federation of Bodybuilders Elite Pro competition, right? World Championship.
To tell me that I cannot make.
So he's already qualified.
I'm not the greatest thing that God ever created.
In fact, I'm seeing his name at the top of the list of the people that's qualified for the men's open competition. Yeah, Damian Daniel out of Grenada. Out of there, I'm only seeing from the Caribbean again. I'm seeing, well, Suriname could be considered the Caribbean. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. 5 others. 3 from Suriname, 1 from Ghana, and 1 from Trinidad. So we look forward to seeing our own Damian Daniel in competition there. The month of November is going to be a busy month for him, which means the next month, October, is going to be very important. So the supermarkets and so on, I know the management in the supermarkets that they're listening, yeah? I know that they're listening. Please make sure that you all assist. I know some of you already are, so I'm not speaking to you. Yeah, I know some of you already are. But the supermarkets, yeah? The fishermen and so on, the poultry farms, whoever can assist so that we could get this young man into the shape and form we need for when he goes out there flying that flag. Yeah, he doesn't break his 11 unbeaten record, yeah? 11 competitions. He hasn't lost in 11 competitions, I think it is.
Give up now. Advice for you.
Some people may say, well, that's just bodybuilding. No, this is a big thing worldwide. And there are lots of people that pay attention to it. And lots of people that are in the upper bracket when it comes to income that pays attention to it. And to get Grenada's name out there, to get interest in Grenada through our athletes, through our bodybuilders, through our boxers and so on is very important. So we need to assist Damian to get out to that competition, all right? Nice.
Waste energy if you like, but you can't stop me. No, you ain't stopping me. Step up. Dirty heart could say what they want. They could never stop me, no. And they could do as they...
It is a Monday, and as usual on a Monday, we do have an open line. So the lines are open, 440-7377.
I was born as a winner. Oh, dirty heart.
And our overseas line, 347-329-3101. Good morning to you, Hannah, and I'm seeing Chris Leslie. Good morning to you. And yeah, I'm seeing Sonia and Carla. Good morning to each and every one of you. Devon, you're supposed to be inside here, not there. I know you had to handle vibes this morning. So good morning to each and every one of you. I hope that you're having a fabulous morning this morning, really. Yeah? Also, Team Grenada.
Give up now. My money.
Let me pull that information up before I say anything, man.
Tried for years and up to now you still waiting. I'm telling you now that bad mind not working is like you in Harry. Dirty heart, you could say as you like. You could do as you please, but you ain't stopping me. No, you ain't stopping where you could waste energy if you like. But you
All right, so let me take this directly off of Chenny's page. Chenny Joseph, good morning to you, bro. The sports news around the region will read something like this today. Reading it directly off of Chenny's page. Grenada's Spice Boy leads Group A of League B. After 2 rounds of matches, the Spice Boys took on the Sugar Boys last Thursday and defeated them 2-1 at home with a late goal from local star Jamal Ray Charles, a.k.a. Soccer Dog, who came in as a substitute. Yeah, they bring in Soccer Dog as a substitute and he's scoring. Yeah. And in yesterday's game versus the tamed Belize Jaguars, who took an early lead into the intermission, saw local superstar Jamal Ray Charles, a.k.a. Soccer Dog, started and converted in injury time to provide maximum points to the Grenadians. Yeah, so Soccer Dog at it again, boy. Yeah, all you handle the man proper, man. Yeah. Right now, he's more like Soccer Wolf than Dog. And okay, I think all you got him as Soccer Dog. Anyway, Charles, who currently plays his football in Honduras, did what he knows best by coming up with yet another big winner. The other goal scored by Grenada was by Andre A.J. Patterson, who netted his 4th goal for the Spice Boys from the penalty spot after he had initially taken a free kick which saw a Belize defender handle the ball. So he makes sure he didn't waste the penalty. He makes sure and he put it in. All right. Grenada had a number of chances which they squandered but remained calm, even with the clock ticking away. Charles had 2 earlier chances, one which saw the Belize goalkeeper denying him a chance when he went down the right side and had a left foot shot at the goal. He had another in the second half after eluding his man but kicked it wide of the upright. Right? Sadrel J. Lewis, Cairo Mitchell and Shavon Rakim John each had clear chances but failed to convert. They tried though. Yeah, today's standouts included Jason Belfon in the goal. Yeah, the goalie handily business. Arthur Patterson, Aaron Pierre, Omar Beckel, Jamal Ray Charles, Tyrone Sterling, and Kernan Hughes. Grenada now sits at the top of the table and are hoping for good results in the remaining 4 matches. Coach of the team, former New England Revolution player Shalari Joseph, says the team is finally getting to know each other and is hoping to further strengthen the team ahead of the remaining matches. So I think they have a match that's coming up at home soon. Yeah, so Grenada is at the top of the table with 6 points, followed by French Guiana with 4, St. Kitts with 1, and Belize with 0. So I believe Grenada should be playing their next match at home. So all you gotta ram up the stadium and play that. Yeah. Ram up the stadium when they come. You gotta ram up the stadium. Nice? Good. Beautiful.
You could do as you please, but you ain't stopping me. You could waste energy.
So folks, we'll be attempting to get in contact with 1 or 2 of our sports people and so on.
No, you ain't.
Find out how they're doing. When I say get in contact with them, we calling them, yeah. We phoning them on air and talk with them.
You see what they want. They could never stop me, no. And they could do as they please. They could never pull me down. 'Cause I was born as a winner. Oh, dirty heart, tell me why you see now. All you can tired, but mine it don't walking. All you try to get me fired, but that still ain't working. Try to make me woman leave me, but that still ain't working. Go buy me a man to do me. Give up now.
And folks, in all of this, we must remember our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas. They do need our assistance. They need our help. We've got to try and help them as much as possible, yeah?
Mine not working. It's like you inherit
15 years ago at this time, we were in their position.
as you like. You could do as you please.
Many of us were homeless.
Stopping me. No, you ain't stopping where you could waste energy if you like.
Many of us had lost nearly all our worldly possessions.
No, you ain't stopping.
So we have to remember our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas. We have a call online.
Hey, good morning, Sheldon.
Hey, morning. How are you?
I'm okay, man. Okay, yeah, okay.
Go right ahead.
Sheldon, you see, when you invest in young people, you reap success. And not only success, but you reap great success. And in all different areas, this government invests in young people. And right now, these young people of Carriacou, they are making us proud as Grenadians. In sports, other different areas, fields, we are happy and proud of them. So I want to say congratulations to Damian Daniel, to Kieran James for returning back on the field and making Grenada proud again. So I want to say to the Grenada people, let us support each and every one of the sportsmen and sportswomen of great Grand Prix Martinique. Because when they succeed, we succeed. And when they don't succeed, we still have to be behind them. In times, only when someone succeeds, we want to big them up. And when they fail, we want to cry them down. But in life, there will be failure. But when we fail, we have to sit down, we have to get up and try to do better. So I want to say congratulations to all the sportsmen of Great Grand Prix Martinique. Continue the wonderful work they are doing. I'm making us proud as Grenadians.
All right. Thank you.
Sheldon, you have one. God bless you.
I agree.
Okay, thanks.
All right, indeed. Yeah, let me say good morning to Shelly-Ann. I'm seeing you on. And Louisa. Yeah, Louisa, I see you. Good morning, my dear. So I'm waiting to get some information today from the Grenada Football Association. I'll let you know exactly which team. Assume it's French Guiana because we haven't played French Guiana yet. That will be playing next.
Just fun.
So looking forward to that match. I believe it's at home match. It will be taking place here in Grenada. So we're looking forward to see that particular match play out. Nice, beautiful.
You could do as you please, but you ain't stopping me. You could waste energy.
So some of you been asking about Damian Daniel. He's a member of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Step up.
5 feet 11 inches of muscle.
Never stop me, no.
Damian is the first man I see teeth actually have muscle too, yeah. Damian teeth have muscle, you know.
Never pull me.
Let's keep his head bald because he here used to have muscle too, so he stopped grow here, yeah. And just to give you a rundown of him in competition, in the Eastern Caribbean Championships 2007-2008, he was in first position. In the Caribbean and Central American Championship of 2008, he gained third place. The Mr. Grenada title, 2009, he was in a first place overall. Eastern Caribbean Championship 2009, first place. Caribbean and Central American Championship 2009, third place. Caribbean and Central American Championship 2010, third place. Mr. Olympia Grenada 2012, first place. Caribbean and Central American Championship 2013 in the heavyweight division, fourth place. Sports World Classic 2014, he placed fourth. In the Caribbean, the Sports World Classic 2015, Caribbean and Central American Championship 2013, fourth place. Sports World Classic 2014, second place. Sports World Classic 2015, first place. And I'll just say first place for everything else that you hear from here on. So, Sports World Classic 2015, you know that's first place. Then the Darcy Beckles Classic 2015, Wesley Barrow Classic 2015, SLF 2016 Invitational, Caribbean and Central American Championship, SLF 2017 Invitational, Sports World Classic, St. Martin Invitational Classic, Stage of Champions, Caribbean and Central American Championship, IFB, Elite Pro Diamond Cup 2019. All of those first place. Yeah? And a Grenadian.
Dirty heart could see what they want.
Support the man.
Could never stop me, no.
Yes, indeed. That is King Strapped, yeah?
Please, they could never pull me down.
Ooh, Hannah is letting me know that netball are having their intersector games coming up in 2 weeks. Hannah, will you be playing?
Dirty heart, tell me why you see
Yeah, Damien is one policeman. When you see him, you're obeying the law immediate. Once you see him, yeah, you get no chance. You ain't even jaywalking. For those of you that are looking to help our brothers and sisters out there in the Bahamas, remember the account number at the Grenada Cooperative Bank. 121004900. Let me give that a little slower. 121004900. Now, what they really need is cash at this time. They had a telethon in Barbados. I think they raised $400,000 or something like that for the people of the Bahamas. The thing is this. Technically and physically, it is extremely difficult and costly. Even if you're getting ships to carry it and they just say give them fuel. It is difficult to carry bits and pieces, like to say we're carrying up beds and clothing and food stuff and so from Grenada to the Bahamas. Technically, it is difficult. Not impossible, not that it will not be done, but it is difficult to do that from these parts, which is why continue to say the best thing to do is to send money. Yeah? Send money. So any one of you that can, yeah, you go and you make your donation at the Cooperative Bank Limited, account number 121004900. Let me take that again. Get your pen outside. And keep your pen outside because we have some other numbers to give you in a short while. 121004900. If it's $5, if it's $10, if it's 50 cents, give it. Give it with a willing heart. Yeah? Because remember, just 15 years ago, in other words, a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, or 11-year-old wouldn't know anything about Ivan. Yeah? Just 15 years ago. So we have some students who, in fact, coming to think of it, next year now, that means the students, the last set of students who probably went through Ivan should be leaving school next year. The last set of students in the school system now who experienced Hurricane Ivan should be leaving the secondary school system next year. There are none in the primary school. There's not a student in the primary school level who knew Ivan or experienced Ivan, which is why it's important to continue to educate our children about hurricanes and so, because many of us, when Ivan came, the vast majority of Grenadians, we never experienced a hurricane. We didn't know what to expect. The elders, some of them experienced Janet. But the vast majority of us never experienced a hurricane, so we didn't know what to expect. That's why a lot of people still say, thank God it passed in the daytime, because if it was night, a lot of people would have died. A lot more people would have died. Yeah? So 15 years ago, we were in the same situation. So as much as each of us can, okay, you're fasting today, take the lunch money and give it to the people of the Bahamas. Because there's some of them that had to force fast for the last few days. They can't eat. They don't have water. So if we can assist, let us assist. You decide you're fasting today, no lunch today. I'm taking the lunch money and I'm donating it to the Bahamas. All right? So help. In whichever way we can, let us help them.
Strong like a lion, full of strength to carry on. You're a hero.
Yeah, we're going to take a short one now and just give you some quick information about the National Health Insurance. Yeah, you know, we've been speaking about that quite a bit, but we have some little bits and pieces just to let you hear what the National Health Insurance is all about.
For months, there has been talk about the coming on stream of a national health insurance for Grenada. This is in fact so, and Grenada is in the design phase of setting up what a national health insurance would look like for the country. In this short production, we would discuss what's a National Health Insurance or NHI. As persons may know, the government of Grenada, in keeping with Sustainable Development Goal 3, which deals with health and well-being, took the decision to introduce a National Health Insurance or NHI program that aims at providing universally accessible and affordable health services to its residents, and particularly for the socio-economic marginalized segments of the population. So in other words, a national health insurance is a compulsory health financing mechanism which pools health risks and contributions from all residents in a single fund. This essentially means all residents of Grenada will at some point be required to contribute to a pool of funds through various mechanisms so that each person can benefit. Sort of like the I help you, you help me, we all help each other scenario. What this kind of health financing mechanism does is enable universal access and universal health coverage. But what exactly is universal health coverage? According to the World Health Organization, universal health coverage means that all people and communities can use promotive, preventive, curative, and rehabilitative health services they need of sufficient quality to be effective, while ensuring these services does not expose the user to financial hardship. Simply put, the ordinary man must be able to access health care for his well-being at any given time without the headache of where the finances would come from. This is exactly what a national health insurance hopes to achieve: universality, equity, and efficiency. We hope this short production gave you a better insight into what a national health insurance is all about. For more information, contact the Secretariat on telephone number 439-6447 or email us at info@nhigrenada.org. You can also look us up on Facebook, National Health Insurance Secretariat Grenada. Don't forget to like our page. In our next production, we explain the difference between equal healthcare and equitable healthcare, another major feature of a national health insurance program. I am Abigail McIntyre, Communications Officer for the National Health Insurance Secretariat, saying thank you for listening and do join us again next time.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Seatbelts are not as confining as a wheelchair. Drive carefully. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
If it's one thing I'm most grateful for, it's life. Knowing where I came from and knowing where I'm at today, the simple things in life that matters. Most time people take life for granted, but gratitude is a must.
Yes, so we're back.
Protect your knife from the trap set for me. Into your hands I submit my...
And we have a caller online. Good morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Scott.
Good morning.
Calling in connection with the cemetery in Happy Hill and Top Fence.
Top Fence, okay, yeah.
Mr. Scott, I'm in sympathy with the people because I know they're still building tomb. And the place is such a small area. If the people had built tomb before, where will they get space now to build tomb? You see, the people before were sensible. They were wise. They go down to the earth so that the people in future that will be burying will have space to bury their loved ones. Mr. Scott, a cemetery never refuse, but like this one will refuse. Because so much tomb.
Running
and
out of
the area is
space.
Small. No, what I suggesting, they don't want to hear. Like the government put a notice that, okay, no erecting of tombs. So when they see that, they will not build tomb. Otherwise, they will be prosecuted. Because when the people in the fence around the area dead, where will they bury their loved ones? All about they come from tomb. The area is very small. Too much tomb in the cemetery.
Yeah, that's a very small cemetery.
If you pass up there, Mr. Scott, you'll see some of them build a big tomb, then they still put a next one on top it, high as ever. This ain't making sense, man, at all. Something has to be done.
Okay.
Because the people won't be able to bury their loved ones when they're dead. The people right in the area, where will they go?
Mm-hmm.
That's my contribution, Mr. Scott.
I do understand exactly what you're speaking about. I've been in that area recently, and I have seen a bit of what you're speaking about.
Yes.
So
and
it is a concern.
Right now, one is erecting right now as I speak.
Oh dear. It is a valid concern. It is a valid concern. I thank you very much for your contribution, caller.
Bye, Mr. Scott. Thank you.
All right. Yes, indeed. What the caller is speaking about there is a valid concern, not just for that cemetery in the fence in Happy Hill, but for all our cemeteries. And the thing is this, when it comes to death and how we deal with the final remains of our loved ones, I think we as Grenadians need to start considering several things. One of them is that if we go with the tombs, sooner rather than later, we will definitely run out of space in our existing burial places or existing burial grounds, cemeteries. We will run out of space. We have to understand that. We have to understand that. And as Hannah is saying, some tombs are erected and the person ain't even dead yet. So they block off that space. Yeah? So they built a tomb for when they go. The tombs, I have my personal preference. I actually believe in cremation. I mean, it's something that's sort of taboo here on Grenada. Most people, they want to be buried. And most people want to be buried either close or on top or below some other relative. So they say, Mommy go there, I want to go there. Daddy go there, I want to go there. I want to be buried next to my father. I want to be buried next to, I have a child. I want to be buried there. Or this sort of thing. And that is understandable. And there's nothing, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I think more and more of us have to start looking at the possibility of, one, cremation. Yeah, because where are we going to put people over a period of time? You're going to run out of space. And especially if it's no longer where you're digging and you're putting somebody down and then you could put somebody else on top there and so on. Where it's now a situation that you have a tomb, a family at 20-something. But let's say you have a family with, not 20-something, let's say you have a family of 10. Mother, father, children, grandchildren, so on. Small family. Yeah, we're going to build a tomb 10 up in the air or more. Eventually, we will end up in a situation where people can't be buried close to their relatives and so on. One of the things that have to be done, and I know that government has been looking into that for the last couple of years, will be the expansion of existing burial grounds, the possibility of expansion of existing burial grounds, and possibly the establishment of new ones. Yeah? So the possibility of establishing new burial grounds and also of expanding those that do exist already. Because in about 2 months' time, well, less than 2 months, it's going to be All Saints and everybody is going to be going to put their candles and so on. Whether you're Roman Catholic or Anglican or whatever, people generally don't bother with that. They go and they put the candles and so on. Yeah, to remember their loved ones. So we know that that will be taking place. So friends, we have to start placing in our minds right now that due to what is taking place now and the limited space available, I often cringe sometimes when you think of what is going on in the St. George's Cemetery, especially the Center Cemetery and Top Cemetery, where you find a place to put people in between there now. Yeah? So we have to start changing the mindset a bit. We have to. It's not a maybe or so. We definitely have to start changing the mindset. Some of us have to start considering things like cremation. Yeah? Wait, I didn't even say that today. But we have to start considering things like cremation as an option. Yeah? And we have to start considering that you may not be able to be buried close to. Probably if we find new lands to house burial grounds and so on, a family decides that they're buying a family plot. That might be an option. Yeah, so a family buys a plot. They say that's a plot. So that is where everybody within the family go in. So we all together. You can't do that with what exists now, but with a new one, you possibly could do that. All right? Because they've sort of phased out the thing about burying behind the house and them kind of thing, eh? They sort of phased that out. Because the reason they kind of phased that out is nobody ain't buying a piece of property when it has somebody buried it, a couple people buried to the back of it. Which is exactly why the elder people make sure that they were buried there. Because they didn't want the property transferred into anybody else's hand. Not after all the hard work they put to get that property. So they used to say, bury me in the yard. And they were buried in the yard. And then somebody mortgaged the house or so. And the bank cannot get it sell. No matter how the bank try to get it. Because the bank, you're trying to sell a house where the person that buys it, they might spend a $200,000 or $300,000 or less to buy a property. And then you have to go through the process of exhuming somebody to put them somewhere else. You think anybody buying a property want to go through that headache? So they mortgage the property. And then even when they ain't paid, the bank can't get to sell it because you end up with the situation, there are bodies there. That's what take place. You feel like a lot of people, they're stupid, they're smart too much, they know very well what they do. They know, when they say put me in the back, they know what they do. They mean that property ain't going into nobody else's hand. It's staying right there in the family. Yeah? All right, folks. 440-7377 347-329-3101.
To make it, I must make it.
Yeah, and the tebe in the British Parliament continues. Now the Speaker of the House says he will resign as Speaker on the Brexit deadline day. That's the 31st of October. And he will not be seeking re-election. They're proroguing the Parliament at the end of today. And trying to head to general election. Good morning to you, Denise. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My old schoolmate. I can't say old, I'm young still. Yeah, we're young still, girl. We can't say old. Huh? So I hope that you're having a wonderful day today, my dear.
The struggles and fight, I smile, everything is alright. I say, thanks for life, Almighty God. Thanks for life.
Folks, remember the U.S. vessel, the Comfort, will be visiting Grenada starting next week Sunday and ending the following Friday. I'll be giving you some information in relation to that in a short while. Right after we take this call. Good morning.
Morning, how are you doing, Sheldon?
I am fabulous.
Listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I find that curiosity after my mother see after me and she died to cremate the body. No, I prefer bear. Cremate and no. Fire? No.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, when she go to hell, let that take she.
It's personal preference. It's personal preference.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
understand.
my views.
Yeah, that's its personal preference. Some people would like that. Some people would like something else.
I understand.
But I say it's time for us to start considering that as an option. Because the departed is departed, and the fire ain't doing them nothing except reducing them to another.
They done gone already.
Yeah, so it's not like you're doing something to them that's going to hurt them.
Because they ain't feeling nothing.
No, they're gone.
In the end, enough, you were watching what going on and you were feeling it.
Well, boss, I've seen it done before, so you ain't even feeling it. Yeah.
Well, you have a nice day, my buddy, and you take care.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, let me say good morning to Stanal, please. No, Stanal, you have a good day too, my brother.
Yes, man.
Listening.
Stanal.
Yes, man. That's my old good buddy.
I'm a cousin, and what you do?
I know, man.
I'm a cousin, boy, so careful,
yeah, I know your cousin. Yamba.
You know, of course, Uncle Ba.
Yeah, Uncle Ba, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, they're good.
All right, beautiful.
All right, man, take care.
Yeah, folks, as I was saying too, the U.S. ship, it is coming to Comfort, and they're going to be offering various services to the Grenadian people. Over the past few days, I have been listening to various conspiracy theorists online, speaking about, the ship coming and do A, and the ship coming and do B, and the ship coming and do etc., etc., etc. Here's this. If you have a medical condition and you are seeking a way to alleviate that problem, you have to do a surgery, you don't have the money to do the surgery, ask any of the conspiracy theorists. The people who they're talking about things that former American governments in the 1800s, when it didn't have things like the information highway that we have now, when it didn't have all these sort of things, they're talking about experiments that were done even before World War I. Yeah? Ask these people if they are willing to give you the money to go and do the surgery. The people who tell you don't go, ask them if they are willing to give the money for you to take your child that needs surgery right now, that they are discouraging you from carrying your child on the U.S. vessel to have that surgery done. Ask them if they are going to be giving you, if they are willing to give you that money now to carry your child to go and do that surgery. Ask them and see if you won't get a cent from them to be able to go and get that surgery done for your child, because quite frankly, I think many of them are just speaking nonsense. Yeah? Now, the thing is, you could be speaking facts and still be speaking nonsense, you know. Because come and sit down, Miss Duncan, don't go there. Come here. Sit down here. Over here, I want you to sit down. Come there. Don't come and play say no over there. These people are purposely trying to scare people away from going and save their own lives. Now, you need some surgery that could extend your life. In some instances, that can save your life. And here are some people telling you, don't go on the vessel. Because the American and them, they do this, and why the American care about us now, and all kind of thing. Why are some people always trying to look at the negatives in things? What have they done? The people who are saying this, the people who are going around with all the conspiracy theories and all this sort of thing, what have they ever done to assist the person that needs the surgery right now because they have the kidney stones and they need the kidney stones out, but they just can't afford it? Are they telling that person, don't go on that vessel, dead with the kidney stones? The person who needs the bypass surgery for the heart right now, that could have it done on the vessel, are they saying to that person, stay there and dead, don't go on that American vessel? Does that song as sensible to you? Does that song as reasonable thinking?
Well, Sheldon, it's something that we have.
You tell your listeners good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Where is my manners? Good morning to everyone who has joined us this morning. And of course, for those of you who have just joined us, like myself, I just reached. It's been a busy morning. I was planning to be here earlier, but you know, work always has you going. But it's very sad that we would allow ourselves, because people have their opinions. It's their opinion whether they believe that the vessel is a fraud, or whether they believe it's good or not. That's their opinion, and they are entitled to that opinion. But it is up to us as a people, up to us as individuals, to make sound decisions based on facts and not just bogus statements, right? Whenever somebody makes a statement that says, well, a hair, or they have no facts to back up exactly what they're claiming, then we know that it is hearsay, we know that it is gossip, we know that it is something that is derived out of maybe a malicious act to try and get people, because I don't understand what gain or what benefit would anyone get from discouraging somebody to do something like that can in the long term benefit them. Personally, this has nothing to do with government or with the healthcare system or anything like that. It's a personal choice. Whether you choose to go or not, that is a personal choice. That has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with party. It has nothing to do with any of that. It is a personal choice. So we need to remove ourselves from the conversation that's whether we go in or not, or whether it makes sense or not, or whether it's true that they are coming to infect the Caribbean. I mean, which is really a ridiculous claim.
I didn't even want to repeat what they were saying, eh? But since you go there, why would you come to the Caribbean, who many countries cannot even afford to buy medication in the normal sense? So they usually buy, for instance, there may be different brands. There may be the high-end brand that you could pay a lot of money for and get that could cure. I know there's certain things that you get in the pharmacies here and so on that take 2 weeks to cure things. And there are other brands that you pay a lot more for that can cure the same thing in 1 day. Yeah. There are things that you take 2 weeks, a course of medication, 2 weeks, 1 month to cure. And there are other medications that could cure it in 1 day. The difference is the price.
The price, yeah.
So you realize...
They don't stand to benefit if they do something.
That's the thing.
Like that.
You're going to go now and put something in the Caribbean where people can... I would go somewhere like Saudi Arabia, the Middle East and so on. You drop your stuff across there where these people have money. So when they're spending.
Yeah.
But not the Caribbean region.
Yeah, but it's sad. We need to deviate from that kind of thinking and be a little bit selfish. For lack of a better words, when it comes to our health, you make a selfish decision. This is my health. I need this surgery done, so I am going to make a selfish decision and I'm going to go and not allow people to influence that decision, right? Because it's something that you need. So we need to come away from that kind of mindset where it's before something happens and one person can send out a voice note, one person can post an article from years ago online, and then everybody takes it up and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone.
You see, again, we continue to say that via this program, we have to change our way of thinking. You see, a lot of people are being manipulated via social media. And for those of you that want to understand what I'm speaking about, look online and get a movie called The Great Hack. You'll understand a lot about how there are individuals that use social media to influence how you think, to influence what you buy. You're walking and you're speaking. Myself and Ms. Duncan could be sitting in here and we're speaking about, I love orange juice. I love orange juice. Orange juice is the best thing. And then you realize you go on Facebook and one of the first things you see is orange juice. Or you are watching a particular movie and then when you go onto YouTube, you realize you're seeing different links to the characters or that movie showing up on YouTube because your devices listen. And your devices market content to you that it believes that you would be interested in. Your devices listen to you and they also monitor what you search for, what you look for, and so on. And there are people who on a lesser scale are using that sort of mindset here to encourage you in certain behaviors. So somebody does a voice note and say, don't go on the boat because the boat, I am living in America, and don't go on the boat because ting, 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 ting. One, do you know the person? It could be a mad woman from any part of the earth. Do you know them? Do you know who they are? Do you know if they do that voice note from the mental home? Do you know who they are? No, you don't. Can you verify what they're saying? No, you can't. In the first instance, they say it's a tourist ship. They don't even know what type of vessel it is. But they just jump out with half-truths and innuendo on a crazy rant, and then people start to circulate it and telling Grenadians who need medical care, they know they need it, not to go on the boat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we also need to have the conversation where people start critically thinking about things, right? I know we teach, or we attempt to a lot of times teach children in school how to think critically, ask critical questions to come to an answer or a decision. And we need to start thinking critically as a people. And what you said is very correct. We need to ask ourselves these questions. Where did this stem from? Is it a viable source? Is it a credible source? Is it what the person's saying? Is there any fact or truth behind it? Because if you do the research, you would notice that in the US, most of the healthcare system, if not 100% of it, is privatized, meaning that a private entity, a board of directors, a company, or so on, would manage that sector of whether it's a hospital or a clinic or so on. They manage that, right? And if not, then the persons who are utilizing, whether it's state-funded healthcare, are paying an insurance company, some insurance company or the other, to assist with the funding of that healthcare. So nothing in the U.S. is cheap, true, because it is either privatized or it is, or we or the people have to pay insurance companies to pay for the services that they get from the hospital, which is the same conversation that we're trying to have here with the National Health Insurance to let people know that, healthcare is not cheap. It's impossible for it to be at the standard you want it to be at and still be free, right? Which is the same conversation that we are trying to have. So you have to look at the facts and you have to look at the details and you have to do an analysis, critical thinking, ask yourself the critical questions that would get you to, a sensible answer and not just run away with the things that we hear. And we have to be so careful about the things that we share on social media as well, because not everybody is exposed or has the opportunity or the privilege to be exposed to the information or the facts that you might have. So you might be able to jump on your computer and say, well, I'm going to search for this. Or they don't even have the knowledge to go to certain sites and say, well, let me research this. They run with whatever information you provide them with.
One thing I've learned about the World Wide Web, the internet, is that you can find an argument to support whatever it is you want to believe.
Of course.
Yeah, there are arguments to support anything you want to believe. Yeah? So there are websites that will tell you coconut oil good for you. There are websites that will tell you coconut oil bad for you. There are websites that will say you should eat at least 1 egg a day. There are some that would say you should not eat eggs at all. So anything you want to believe, there are websites and there are pages that will support whatever it is. If there are pages that say, well, okay, it's okay to worship Satan, that should tell you.
Exactly.
It have pages to support anything you want to. We have a call.
Sheldon Scott.
Good morning, Camille Scott.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hello.
We're hearing you okay. Go right ahead, my love.
Good morning, Siri.
Morning.
Yeah, wanting to come back on, I get guys whatever call it. Anyhow, I want to say good morning to you and Devon and to the young lady.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bye, well, I just saying good morning. And good morning to my friend in America. The doctor that come and I give him the cocoa. He listens to that program every day.
Wonderful.
And they was giving us some service. But he go back. So I want to say good morning to you, sir. The Mr. from Sedmota, the right family from. And Mr. Watson, Patty, and Depo, and everybody. I say good morning to you all guys. They put burn in me like pepper. Somebody bring a bag of bread put that Sheldon, but all the bread put right.
Oh, no.
All the bread put right, nice big bread put.
Well, Miss Cammy, save one for me.
Bread put this morning, but I can't get it since yesterday.
Save one for me, Miss Cammy. I'll come and get one.
All right. Anyhow, when we get,
all right.
So everybody that is listening, Miss Cammy is back on the holiday. Okay. The lot of them was on 3 weeks, the lot was on 4 weeks. So Mr. Watson, Patty, and Cathy and Cox, and my friend in England, and everybody. I'm all right, thank God. And to my children, thank God for them. The 5 children. God bless everybody. Morning to the Prime Minister and everybody. Miss Thomas, Sandra Thomas, good morning. Sheldon was there, just sit down.
Well, you know I go pass.
And Fluffy and everybody.
Tell Fluffy behave.
Calling you and Andre. And get calling you out. But anyhow, good morning again. And keep doing the good work.
Okay, my love.
All right, darling.
All right, bye-bye.
I'm back on show online. Therefore, everybody, have a blessed day in America, boy. And England. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Miss Cammy. Well, here's this, before we go back on the topic we were speaking about. I've actually been looking at some videos, and I saw it a while ago, that they actually eat ripe breadfruit just as that, raw.
Yes, it's
They
actually
eat ripe breadfruit. They
it's
just peel
actually
it and
very
eat it.
good, and it's very sweet.
You go, no, I ain't eating it.
No, but ripe breadfruit is good. I use it to make pie and breadfruit balls and these kind of things.
So Cammy, hold one at least for Miss Duncan. She go pass where she
yes,
ripe
I'll
breadfruit.
pass for it. Right?
But we were saying about the vessel now. And the thing is this, verify your information. It's not sensible. It's not reasonable to just pick up anything and start to spread it all over the place. Take up this and you send it to everybody and like, so who is the person that send back and they ask you, well, who is the person talking? Me, I get, so I send it. No, you can't operate like that because you're sending bad information further and further on.
You see, we've developed a culture, a bad culture as it is, of spreading propaganda. And I don't know where it's derived from. I don't know why it's being promoted. I don't know why it's being encouraged. But we have to start teaching our people to share the good things, share the positive things. And even before you share, verify. Verify. Look, the other day, my coworker and I were having this conversation about something she saw on the internet about star fruit and so on not being good for you.
My goodness.
Not
that it ain't good for you. That carambola does kill people.
I mean,
sugar
the
apple
amount
does
of
kill people.
carambola I have eaten in my life, I probably should be dead by now. But it just goes to show, and I must commend the herbalist, what's his name? Patrick Delves, who came out and he did a video. I'm hoping that people had an opportunity to look at it, to view the benefits of these fruits that they were saying was so bad for you. And
you see, the thing is this. What is taking place is social media experimentation. These individuals are looking to see if they create a video with a message that you, the average Grenadian, know is nonsense. And my mic is sort of cutting off when I touch the table. Yeah. They're looking to see if they do a video with something that you know for a fact, because you know for a fact sugar apple don't kill nobody.
Of course not. That's my favorite fruit.
You know soursop.
So I should be dead.
You know soursop and mango don't kill nobody.
Right.
But here, these people putting out a video saying these things killing people and how much people dead with it in this place and so. And they are looking to see how many people they can get to buy into that message and send that message further on. They're looking at their statistics and saying, well, okay, on this island, we got 40,000 people to share that.
Right.
We got 100,000 views and so on. And believe me, they're going to come with other messages to you. They're using these things and they're gauging how far their message can travel in what space at time.
Yeah, that's very
true. And the type of messages.
Of course.
And once it's a negative something, some of us tend to share it. I mean, a lot of people blast it, One time they blast it, but you're blasting it and you're sharing it.
And not only that, sometimes, and we get caught up so much in sharing things that I may see something, I know it's nonsense, I know it's crazy, I know it's not possible, it doesn't look factual, but at the same time, I'm going to send it for my girlfriend and say, Ali, watch that now, watch stupidness. And then she may send it to another friend of hers and say, well, and that is how things circulate, right? And in the same way, we want to share these things that say, hey, watch stupidness now. We want to share the good things that go on, because there's so much happening in the country that we do not share, that we do not take advantage of circulating with the people in the diaspora. Something happened in Grenada.
Look, this one. There was a successful major brain surgery done at the General Hospital right here in Grenada. Let me say it to them foreigners that say it. Grenada. It was done right here. Dr. Nilo Alvarez Toledo and his team of doctors and nurses at the General Hospital St. George performed a life-saving complex surgery on the brain of 17-year-old Richard Gibbs of St. Andrew for a vascular malformation, giving the youngster a promising future. You hear that in the news? People ain't talking about it. Let one thing go wrong. Let them go to the hospital and you have to wait 2 hours or so. You're hearing that, but you ain't hearing them, you ain't seeing them share this.
Well, on that note, the other day I was perusing through Facebook, as I usually do, to get little updates, get my little laugh, connect with my old friends and so on. And, of course, post the occasional picture. And I'm perusing through and I saw a post by the opposition representative in Carriacou. And I was a bit...
Let me guess, it didn't make much sense, right?
Well, not that it didn't make sense, because, I mean, he is entitled to his opinion.
He's a fellow Carriacou, but it doesn't make much sense. Anyway.
But what I want to encourage them to do, because he's not the first to have done something like that, But what I want to encourage them to do is that whenever they're posting these, and I'll tell you exactly what it was, not word for word verbatim, but in summary what I remember. When they're doing things like this, they need to ensure that they are not trying, or the intent is not to play with the emotions of the Grenadian people. And I'll tell you why. It was an issue, I believe, a young lady would have lost her baby in the general hospital, which is unfortunate, of course. I cannot relate. I do not want to relate to something like that. I mean, I have 2 children, and I just the thought of it, raises my skin. And he went on Facebook and made a bold statement that an investigation needs to be done into the maternity ward of the general hospital because too many of our babies are dying. And it went further to say that it was due to negligence within the maternity ward. And I don't normally...
So the same nurses and them down there, is them the one to get the blows now and say
Right.
the nurses and them negligent?
I don't normally comment on these things but that is something that kind of hit home. Because I know when I was in labor, there was a nurse that stayed with me even after her duty. I don't know the nurse from Adam to Eva. I've never met her. But she stayed with me, and that woman rubbed my back the entire time I was in labor. She just stayed there with me. Even after her shift was over and it was time for her to go home, she stayed. And I'm sure I'm not the only person with a story like that. Mm-hmm. Because there are nurses in the general hospital who really genuinely do care and who genuinely do spend time just caring for their patients. When we share things like that, we give all nurses all people a bad taste about nurses, and all nurses at that, right? And not only that, there was no factual data behind it. We know that the situation is unfortunate, yes, as unfortunate as it may be.
One is one too much.
One is one too much, of course. But we also need to identify the circumstances for every situation, because you cannot look at all of them generally. You have to look at each situation in isolation. One baby dying today may not be the same reason as a baby that died last week, or the week before that, or the month before that. So we have to look at these things subjectively on a case-by-case basis. Mm. And then we need to provide facts and data. He said a lot of babies. How much is a lot? And over what period are we talking about? You understand? So we don't just put that information out there. So before a woman gets pregnant, the first thing she's doing is wondering, Lord, I wonder if I go in the hospital, if my baby is going to live. That is added stress that she does not need. And we are the ones putting that into the minds of our people. And I mean, that has to stop.
Let me tell you, you have to understand that these quote-unquote failures of political activists that they have within that organization, the National Don't Care Congress. These individuals actually believe that what they are doing is something good, The average person in Grenada understands the situation we face and understands how we need to get from point A to point B. They understand that. They are the ones that are going down and experiencing, be it the maternity ward or be it the pediatric ward and so on, where there have just been significant improvements,
yes,
where they can now cater for the premature children properly and all of that. So there have been major improvements in these areas. No one is saying that the healthcare system is perfect.
Of course
We're saying it's a work in progress.
And we need to understand that healthcare is still free. I could still go to the hospital with, I remember a few years ago, and I like to use myself as an example, and it just goes to show that nobody is above anything. We all, at the same, if I get sick today, it's the same general hospital that I go to. If you get sick today, it's the same general hospital that we go to, right? So we have to be mindful of what we put out there. We have to understand healthcare is still not cheap, and it's free. Generally, if you go in a general hospital, what do you get? You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Free. Where is that money coming from? You leave the general hospital, your first stream of medication, you can pick it up at the pharmacy in the general hospital. That is also free. Where is that money coming from? The doctors and nurses that attend to you, they are being paid. Where is that money coming from? The people that take care of the bedding and clean the hospital and so on, that is also being paid for. Where is that coming from? And we are still the ones, we get an ultrasound in the hospital while we are a patient at the hospital. That is also free. An x-ray, that is also free. So we need to be mindful of these things, because at the end of the day, 50 people go into the hospital, 50 people receive free health care, nothing that they have to pay for, but yet the hospital still needs upgrades. Where is that money coming from? So we need to be mindful and think about all of these things when we go out there and say, oh, the healthcare system needs to be improved. I agree, and 100%.
And no one is saying, no one, let's just be clear, because there are a bunch of people out there that like to twist things, especially when I say it. They like to try and twist it and feel that they're going to put Grenadians against me, or feel that they're going to run me from Grenada or some kind of nonsense. Yeah? They will continue trying until the day they go into there anyway. But anyhow, let me don't say that, because next thing they will say I send in threat. But at the end of the day, no one is saying that you ought not to speak if you've had a bad experience, you know.
Yeah.
Because by speaking, others are aware.
Of course.
And the authorities are aware.
Of course.
And then they do things to correct it. If people going through bad situations and nobody comes out and say, well, look, I went there and that happened, then nobody knows that, look, there's a problem there that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
So people must speak when you've been through the negatives, but at the same time, speak of the positives as well.
Of course.
And then I think probably Mark Zuckerberg need to start looking at giving people an aptitude test before some of them get a Facebook account, because some of the things that they use Facebook and so forth, right? You think you're doing something positive, politically, maybe or maybe not. In my view, not. But in your view, it may seem as something that is giving you some political capital, that it's doing something positive for you, that you're feeling good when you do that, that you're going to get people onto your side. But then the same people are seeing you for the unfactual liar that you are. When they go through and they say, well, okay, well, let's see. You're saying that this is happening. Let's see the facts in relation to it. Well, I don't want to give out the facts. Let the government give out. No, you're not the one making the accusation. The government is not the one making accusation. You are.
Yeah.
So present the facts to back up what you have. Last time they came with this thing before, you know. Remember, a couple of years they came with this thing before about how much babies dying at the hospital. The news media, they checked with Otway Bailey. They checked with Lacroix. They checked with Wayne's Funeral Home. They checked with the mortuary itself at the hospital to see if there were babies and so left there. Zilch.
But I asked him the question, and I still await a response, of course. I asked him,
You'll be forever waiting.
No, I need a response. As a Grenadian citizen, if you're making these claims, then I need to know that the data that you are providing me with is factual, and that you are not just trying to make political mileage off of my emotions, because then I would get upset. But
desperation of a failed political organization.
What is important is that we start asking for facts. And I've made this appeal before on this very program, that in the same way that we Grenadians expect a lot from the government, and we expect the government to provide us with information, we expect them to provide us with data and facts and so on, as it is our right to do so, we must still hold the opposition that intends to come and run our country in the same standard, and ask them for the same information and the same facts and the same data if they are making these accusations. For example, we have a team of people who have decided that every Wednesday or Thursday they're going to go in front of the financial complex and protest against corruption. And I look at the protest, waiting to see on the placards what exactly, what corruption, what facts do they have leading up to this claim that they're making that there's corruption within the Ministry of Finance. And a bunch of, I don't even know what to call it, on these placards about Sellgate and sell this and sell that and sell the other, and nothing factual, no data, no facts, no meat to the accusations that they are making. Well, a matter of fact, there were no accusations at all.
You have a problem with Hannah and them selling Bristol board. Christmas coming up, these people are to get a little bonus on Brighton and Miners. Let Bristol board sell now. Only so. Let Bristol board sell. Let Otway gas station or a gas station get a little money for when they are to come down to town to go and do what they have to do and all kind of thing. Let them do what they want to do within the ambit of the law. Go right ahead.
Yeah, but we have to require more.
It is a failed political organization who is grasping, because they know that the leadership challenge that's coming up right now within the organization, because you're hearing they call this one back, somebody that get licks twice and all kind of thing, some lady or the other. So then it have a next woman, she get licks once. was she coming and thing, and she says she want to be leader. And then it are some fellas that throw in the hat into the ring and that kind of thing. So I mean, if they know that they want the focus not to be on them, not to be on the brewing confusion that's taking place within their organization. They want the discussion to be elsewhere. So they're going to continue to try as much as possible over the next few weeks and months and so on to keep the discussions off of them and on to everybody else. So you will never hear them come and speak of the state of the National Disaster Congress. They will never come and speak on that. They would never come and have a long discussion in relation to the various things that they should be doing or are doing or that kind of thing. You wouldn't hear discussions on that. They want the discussion to stay off of them, which is why they want me around.
But we as a people need to require more of them. We need to demand more of them. Because for some strange reason, if in the event another party decides, or the Grenadian people at that decide that they want another party, you can't just take somebody from somewhere. It has to be somebody who is credible, somebody that you see that is able to run the country. So then if we are looking in that direction, then we must require more from these people. We must require more from these people. It's just like you have two candidates
but they can't do what they do have.
It's like you have two candidates vying for your daughter's hand in marriage, right? Of course, if that is the case, then what you would want to do is you would want to say, show me your case. Which one is more suitable, right? You don't want somebody to come in and say, well, I'll give your daughter $10,000, but you don't know where the $10,000 coming from. They have no job. They have no means of income. They have no prospects for the future, but they want to marry your daughter and give her $10,000. You're not gonna give that your daughter to that person. Mm-hmm. The next person, on the other hand, has a proven track record of delivering whatever it is that is required for your daughter's upkeep. They have a stable job. They have a stable background and all of these things. Of course, you would want to give your daughter to the better candidate, wouldn't you? But we as a people, we need to advocate for better from both sides, you know. It's not just the government's job to ensure that the country gets what it needs to get. It's also the opposition's job. If you're saying the government not doing a good job, then you need to show us where you can improve. And it needs to be factual data as well.
I find you trying to give them advice. Giving them no advice.
I'm giving the Grenadian people advice. We need to demand more from our opposition. The time has passed where we just sit down and allow them to say, well, they thieved $20 million from the Ministry of Finance, but we don't have no proof of the money being transferred to anybody. We have no proof of the money even being there. We have no proof of the money being stolen, but yet still they thieved $10,000. And we go around saying $10,000 has been stolen. And when they ask you from where, well, that is what they say. And we look foolish just the same. So we have to start demanding more.
Listen, you giving advice, but yeah, what I'm
I am surprised that they have not come to you, and I guess I have said that. The last question I had in that regard is, from what you have said that they don't come to you, assume that you already don't have much influence on the government or the party.
That is correct.
Again, I assume that a lot of us...
They're assuming that I have influence. Yes. But that is not correct.
In fact, the rumors are wrong that you're part of what is called the second cabinet.
That's wrong.
That is wrong.
If there's any second cabinet, that is wrong.
So you really, George Brizan, have really no influence on the party or the government?
Correct.
I hope that they are listening and they will change that approach and reach out to you and to Sir Nicholas Bradford for suggestions and advice.
But it's up to them.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I will not give any advice to anyone, my girl. I will only give advice if I'm asked. And once I give advice, you would know. And none but Lord Brizan. Once he gives advice, you have to do what he says.
Yes.
Because if you don't, he will give you no more advice.
Yeah, you giving advice to people that even the late George Brizan say he don't give no advice too. I mean, let me see who else.
To the leadership of the party, what would it be in order to get the party back in, let's say, a competing mode to put itself up for election again for you?
I don't think I want to give any advice to people who can't take advice. Honestly, I don't see myself wasting my time.
And that was Finsley St. Louis. You want to give them advice? Two of them said they ain't giving none.
Well, I'm not giving the NDC advice. I'm not in a position to give them any advice. They will do what they want to do, but it is up to us as a people, as custodians of the state, to demand more from them. This nonsense about going and sitting on public forums and just making bogus statements, it has to stop. We have to start demanding facts.
Like the nonsensical statement about government taking all NIS money. How government could be taking all NIS money? NIS takes your money and invests it to be able to get enough money so that the entire structure, the entire thing can be sustainable. If they just take, okay, so they're taking $10 from me every month, but when I retire, you have to give me $400. How that could be reasonable?
Yeah.
You gave me $400 a month when I retire, but you're taking $10 from me every month. No.
You see, we don't look at it as that way. Eh?
You have to take my $10 and make not the $400. You know. You have to take my $10 and you have to make about $800.
Yeah, because
for all the administrative things that had to take place in between, if I get sick, all those kind of things that I have to get my little payments for.
Of course.
So at the end of the day, you're taking my $10, but you have to invest you have to make the $10 work for me.
Yeah. And I mean, if people have been listening and people are being reasonable and honest with themselves, they would be able to call them out on a lot of the things that they're saying, because the facts are there, the facts have been provided, and the facts are available. NIS is willing to provide the data and the information. They have been doing that.
Facts do not change.
They do not change.
Opinion might change.
If it has changed, it probably wasn't fact to begin with, right? So we have to be mindful.
You're alive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah? In 300 years from now, that fact will not change that you were alive right now.
And I can't be alive and dead at the same time.
Yeah. So it don't change.
It doesn't change. But in regards to the hospital, I mean, we need to do better in terms of the information that we share. For example, there's another gentleman who generally goes up to the hospital. I don't know if he's always sick or if it is just an issue where he just likes going and taking pictures of the hospital. So he went up to the hospital, took a couple pictures of, I guess, some deteriorating infrastructure or whatever. And in my mind, I'm saying, instead of going up to the hospital every week, twice a week, 3 times a week, to take pictures, what are you contributing? Why can't you say to the government, okay, well, I could probably come with a coat of paint, because it looks like an issue where it just needs to be maybe scraped and repainted or whatever. I can get a few people in my community that will come together and say, well, we come in and paint that section, get the proper authority from the Ministry of Health and see if they are. Now, if the Ministry of Health refuses your offer, then you have a reason to make noise. But you're not offering any assistance, but yet you're complaining. And if that same gentleman were to get sick and go in the hospital for 2 weeks, he would be receiving free health services in the same hospital that he is condemning that he has to pay not $1 for. So these are the kind of conversations that we need to have. And this is why the NHI, when it is implemented, would be such a good thing for our healthcare system, because then we can start seeing the kind of healthcare service that we want. Then we can start making the demands that we think we need to make in order to improve our healthcare service, because we are contributing monetarily to that improvement. You know, so it's good conversation.
The difference between me and you is I know that the individual needs to be in the hospital, but that's the wrong one. It's our one over on River Roadside. That's where they need to go. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. It is 12 noon. But before we go, Naz, show the people Karani race now, man. Yeah, we can't leave and we don't show.
Yes, that was an interesting race.
Karani race. So yeah, we go in there. Say when you start, man. You start? Nice. All right. Race is up for those of you that...
Tiene de hecho, Ricardo, la 10ª mejor marca de la historia. Yo recuerdo aquella final.
Yeah, man. Man getting ready to... But the thing is, we do have audio to go with it, man. That's the problem. Yeah. He has a personal best time of 43.74. I think it's among the 6th fastest ever in the 400 meter. All right? Yeah. I see bulk up and things.
Yes.
Karani again, man. Yeah, man. You ready to go? All right? And it doesn't call him gear changer for nothing. Yeah, they doesn't call him gear changer for
That
nothing.
was a very interesting race. I had the opportunity to look at it. I'm very proud of him.
One of the things that I'm pretty excited about now, though, is the Grenada Invitational for 2020.
Yes.
And we know, as usual, you have the people who are always attacking and saying all sorts of nonsense. But the Grenada Invitational in 2020 is actually going to be one of the first major athletic meets in the world in an Olympic year.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of folks that are going to try to be here in Grenada to start off their season.
Yes.
And the times that are there in Grenada, some of those times you may end up hearing them being called at the Olympics and as the world leading time. Established in St. George, Grenada at the Grenada Invitational. So we're looking forward to the Grenada Invitationals 2019. All right.
And that was a clear win. I mean, there was no disputing that. And we have so many of our other people out there doing a wonderful job, of course, and we always want to give them our support and commend them in their hard work. Always, always.
Yes, indeed. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. We are out of here, and whatever you say and do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
Of course, we are out.
Medio cuerpo, media recta casi al resto de rivales, Se queda embobado Ricardo Diego mirando el caminar de Kieran y James.
Es que bueno, estamos hablando de un campeón olímpico, es un campeón olímpico.
Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee commends government for staying within the fiscal space. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Friday, September 6th, I am Rakisha St. Louis. Government has been commended for keeping within the fiscal space in 2018. In its 2018 report, the Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee said of the 5 rules and targets in the Fiscal Responsibility Act, there were 3 areas of compliance with reservations. One is that the wage bill to GDP ratio should not exceed 9%. Another is that the rate of growth of primary expenditure should not exceed 2%. And the third, primary balance to GDP ratio should not be less than 3.5%. Addressing the media during the launch of the FROC report on Thursday, Chairman Richard Duncan said government has maintained control and has not exceeded its spending ceiling.
Government has a constraint in terms of how they can spend. And that's where the Fiscal Responsibility Act comes in to ensure that certain ceilings are not exceeded. And as people remember, we always said that the origins and the genesis of fiscal crisis or crises is when we spend more than we earn or we spend irresponsibly. And therefore, while the government has a program of expenditure, it is bounded by the Act to do so in a responsible way. And that we have seen.
The 2 areas cited as non-compliant are the public sector debt to GDP ratio, whose target should not exceed 55%, and the public-private partnership contingent liabilities, which should not exceed 5% of GDP. They were, however, described as making steady progress towards compliance.
Basically, it is good news on 3 of the 5 rules. And the 2, where we say that there is non-compliance, steady progress is being made with respect to 1, that is the public sector debt to GDP, and the public-private partnership assessment remains outstanding, and there's work to be done.
Committee member Angus Smith highlighted some of the recommendations made to enable more growth and accountability.
We noted that while complete data and information is not available for the entire public sector, so until they get the covered public entities included in the data, they would be weak in those areas. But central government's performance has largely followed the Act. From that, we suggested that government should issue a policy statement on a targeted time frame for expanding fiscal and debt data coverage to the entire public sector debt. This is the third report we are doing. This is the third time we are saying that the covered public entities are not included. And we are suggesting that they issue a policy statement giving a time frame, a targeted time frame to get these statutory bodies under reporting. Instead of leaving it open-ended, they should issue a policy statement with a targeted time frame.
Government was also commended on having favorable macroeconomic growth, low unemployment, a stable financial sector, and lower debt stock. This is the third report issued by the committee. The first report covered the year 2016 and the second report covered 2017. The Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee was established in accordance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act No. 29 of 2015 to create a transparent and accountable rule-based fiscal responsibility framework in Grenada to guide and anchor fiscal policy during the budget process. The foundation is being laid to revive the dormant National Poultry Farm in St. Andrew. An attempt is being made by a young man in the area to inject new life and new ideas into the project. We get more in this report from Karima Lewis.
Employment opportunities will be created for people in the parish of St. Andrew with the opening of the National Poultry Farm in Post Royal in a matter of weeks. An immediate priority of management is to ensure that consumers are able to purchase their chicken and eggs at the supermarkets for Christmas. Operating under the new name Family Farms Grenada, it will seek to bring a poultry brand to the sector, limiting the importation of chicken to the island. This is according to the owner, 30-year-old Kobe Williams, who gave a tour of the facility recently to Minister of Agriculture Sheldon Scott Devon and other ministry staff. Williams says his main aim is to supply better quality and healthier chicken to the local market.
We imported about over 20 million pounds last year. So we're excited to grab some of that business, supply a better product to customers, and just do it in a different way, a new way. And we're very excited to get the farm up and running.
He said that 3,000 to 4,000 chickens will be slaughtered at the farm every 5 weeks.
Right now, with the current capacity of these two houses, we can hold over 6,000 chickens. We plan to get it up to 9,000 in the next 2 months or so. We're just waiting on some processing equipment, but we're looking at pushing out 3,000 to 4,000 chickens every 5 weeks. So that's the kind of production we are looking at. Yeah, so you can expect us, within the next year, we're looking at over 35,000 birds produced and sold.
Minister of Agriculture and Lands, Honorable Sheldon Scott Devon, is in full support of the venture. She says youth in agriculture and increased poultry production are two of the ministry's target areas.
I support it wholeheartedly because we're looking at young persons involved in agriculture and poultry. We're looking at the cutting down of importation of poultry to the island. We eat too much foreign food that we don't even know about. And there is a young man trying to build that area, getting involved in that area. I want to wish him all the best. We are wholeheartedly behind him as the Ministry of Agriculture. And with that trust, with the whole poultry policy and getting things in order, that's another client.
Dr. Kimon Cummins, Acting Chief Veterinary and Livestock Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, says there is a direct and indirect support to that venture from the ministry.
Directly, we have offered lots of technical and concessionary assistance. Indirectly, we're setting up the structures presently within the industry so that persons like Mr. Williams, as we go forward, the business would be able to thrive. You would have heard about the poultry policy. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to speak of other detailed engagements that we would have had with other establishments and other agencies, but we're in the process of setting up the structures. So as I said previously, businesses like Mr. Williams would definitely survive.
For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Karima Lewis.
This is the National Report. We'll have more news when we return.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on, people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Welcome back. Grenada is making efforts to strengthen diaspora management and involvement. The International Organization for Migration held a two-day conference in Grenada this week to discuss and highlight Caribbean migrants and introduce its 2019 to 2020 Regional Migration Research Project. The organization seeks to promote diversity and inclusion of migrants in society. Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Peter David says Grenada will build a platform for growth and Grenadians in the diaspora. He says the plan is to get Grenadians in the diaspora more involved and keep them up to date on local occurrences. Minister David says building relationships with them is a sound investment in better policy making and good governance and will augur well for future development.
We must articulate the pathways towards a cooperative, meaningful role for our diaspora in national development, lay the foundations to follow up on our engagement and initiatives. I wish to express our government and people's thanks to the IOM for their assistance in helping us with this exercise. This project will allow us to build a platform that seeks to understand the diaspora, address needs, fill gaps, and strengthen their participation and contribution to national development. U.S.
Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Linda Tagliella-Taylor, stressed the importance of migration to Caribbean economic growth and development. She says Grenadians in the U.S. contribute $1 million in remittances annually.
The United States is the world's largest source of remittances with more than $100 billion. Caribbean countries like Jamaica receive $1.8 billion in remittances. The Dominican Republic receives $5 billion, and Grenada receives approximately $1 million. The expatriate communities in the United States have played a key role in countries throughout the world, and it goes beyond economic support. Students educated in the United States, like Grenada's own Prime Minister Keith Mitchell, have gone on to make significant contributions in science, sports, commerce, and government in their own countries.
The conference highlighted issues such as free mobility, migration management, refugee protection, and diaspora engagement. And finally, Grenada is hosting a two-day workshop next week to increase resilience and reduce vulnerability to climate change impacts in the Eastern Caribbean fisheries sector. This will be done through the introduction of adaptation measures in fisheries management and capacity building of fisherfolk and aquaculturists. The project is currently being implemented in Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. This workshop will be held at the Fisheries Conference on Monday and Tuesday, and it entails a series of meetings and working interactive sessions. On the final day, however, there will be simulation exercises planned where participants will be able to practice the skills learned and get hands-on experience and knowledge while at sea. The workshop will be facilitated by the Caribbean ICT program team from the University of the West Indies in Trinidad. That story just ended the national report for today, Friday, September 6th. Let's recap the top story. Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee commends government on staying within the fiscal space. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Hope rides on the rays of the sun here. So too does the resilience of the people. But in the battle against climate change, will hope and resilience be enough when the lives of those who contribute the least feel the brunt of its effects.
For us here in the Caribbean, climate change and its devastating impacts are our new normal.
Hope is still the strongest currency in these parts. But a devaluation of life can come if the world sells the people short. With the realities of modern times, forever no longer has the same currency it had a generation ago.
Rolling on the way through my journey, I got a triple OG sitting right beside me. This old man, he played four, he playing knick-knack on my door. Raises of white noise, light up the world. Here we go, and I follow the sun, 'cause it's bright on the other side of my window.
In Grenada, like in many places in the Caribbean, there are continuing concerns about rising temperatures and the increasing frequency of storms.
In growing up as a young girl on the Carriacou, the changes, I always tell them the major change started with Hurricane Janet, September. September is a very terrible month for Grenada with hurricanes. Price of progress is always very high. And to me, the whole environmental problem in the Caribbean and in particular in Grenada come with the price of progress.
The country was devastated, almost complete devastation. In some villages, first of all, every village in Dominica, every street, every cranny, every person in Dominica was impacted by the hurricane.
I know myself from since this is why growing up, come here, twice to come and enjoy yourself at the beach, and bathe and eat and drink and enjoy yourself and have fun. You never never should meet much with the sea, but I know the water get rough. The climate got changing.
People here have created their own way of life, overcoming great challenges over the centuries. They are at one with nature, and nature is at one with them.
There are farmers who have irrigation systems. There are farmers who are close to rivers, but there are also farmers who depend solely on rainwater, our rainwater harvesting to grow their plants. And I can tell you over the last year or so, and a lot of farmers have not been able to reach their targets in terms of production.
They followed the sun and the moon and the stars to maintain their livelihoods. Their culture has evolved dependent on the environment, their lives intertwined with its well-being.
We have no choice as a region but to pursue climate-smart development.
Building the region's resilience to climate change, natural hazards, and environmental changes is not only a necessary and urgent development imperative, but is also a fundamental requirement to ensure our basic survival as a people.
The problem with climate change is getting warmer faster in the temperate regions, and so earlier in the year, like February, March, when the birds are still here, they don't know they have to go home yet, but all the things that should be happening when they arrive are happening earlier. So their nesting sites are becoming available, their food sources, especially insects, are blooming. So by the time the birds get back to where they have to go, there's no food for them.
Follow the sun, follow the sun.
Water fuels life here. Above as below, without adaptation, much is at stake. Maybe the lives here can be the hope and the light the world needs to make a change before it's too late.
These impacts are reversing economic growth, exacerbating poverty, and undermining the future prosperity of Caribbean countries.
This war was not started on their terms, but one through which they are determined to fight together.
But we can't do this alone. This is why we're calling for greater focus, support, and action from the international community to get us ahead of this climate crisis.
Grenada's National Sustainable Development Plan 2035 seeks to address climate adaptation and vulnerability for sustainable development.
Being on the front line in the war against climate change, Caribbean countries are pushed into action and are finding ways to overcome the challenges.
We're facing a hurricane, Hurricane Dorian, one that we've never seen in the history of Bahamas. I just want to say that as a physician, I've been trained to withstand many things, but never anything like this.
We preserve, we protect, and we promote. Adaptation done right safeguards our economies and builds a better future for us all. The choice is clear. Delay and pay, or plan and prosper.
Hope and resilience may be enough after all. Governments, communities, and businesses are working together in this changing reality to adapt and build a stronger Caribbean as the world's first climate-smart zone.
Investing in adaptation measures is not a cost, it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity to realign our lifestyles and our economies to respect that delicate balance that maintains life on Earth.
Accelerating adaptation would enable us to get ahead of the climate crisis and stay there.
In Grenada, they're embarking on a bold plan to build the first climate-smart city in the Caribbean. If carbon emissions are not capped, if the sea levels and temperatures continue to rise, if we do not act now, all hope will be lost.
The time for action is now. The choice is clear.
The choice is clear. Adapt our world.
With fresh investments in people and infrastructure, with development tied to the sustenance of the environment, with strengthening policies and greater awareness, we can accelerate adaptation and save our world. So join us as we adapt our world.
The choice is clear. Adapt our world.
Adapt our world!
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP.
Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.